This is highly unusual. She's only done this because she doesn't realise she's actually standing on my hand. She is complete Fruit Loop. Eve, do you want to go somewhere else? She's gonna get mental with her. Hello and welcome to Brimwood Farm. So today we are inside the aviary because today the incubators are going on. So I've just come to collect a couple of eggs. So Eve has laid a few more and there's one down here, and you can see, unlike chickens, they don't really lay them in a nest unless you keep them in a really, really big run. You can see actually this cross indicates this egg, unfortunately, has got a crack in it, but we'll candle that and have a look. There's another one around here, so let's just grab that. So we've got a couple of eggs, we've got some more inside as well, so we're going to go and put those on. While we're here, I'm also going to show you this dead box tree. I went to take it away a few weeks ago and there was a nest, and you might have seen it in previous episodes. But if you look inside now, there are babies. So this little pink thing here, you're going to move? No. You're going to pretend you're dead. But if you look really carefully, there are actually, let's try and get further in. There's two little babies there and an egg. So let's leave the aviary so these guys can chill out and mum and dad can come back to the nest. So I'm so excited to finally be doing a hatch, and as you know, if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you'll know it's quite unusual actually for us not to have chicks here, because I always have them. But we decided to cut back this year, A, because I'm working quite a bit and I don't have the hours, B, because we finally got all the animals out the house into the garden, and if any of you have raised chicks, you will know there is so much dust. So we kind of wanted to avoid that if possible. And then C, as again, many of you know, we are kind of in that transition phase from moving from here to the farm, and visas, monies, all of that sort of thing allowed, we will be making that move over the next year or so. And so we don't want to be taking too many animals with us, so we're kind of just trying to keep the numbers down a little bit. But with that said, I do still want to do a chick check this year for you to follow, and I thought we would do it with the pheasants because it would be really, really interesting. So first up, we've got our incubators and we've got our eggs. So these are our Reeves eggs. They're kind of a little bit of an olivey colour. This is the one we picked up that's got the cross on it, and I did candle it and there is a crack. However, I'm going to throw it in the incubator anyway because I actually want to see whether it is fertile or not, because I've never tested Adam and Eve's fertility, so I want to put those all in. Also, because it hasn't got a crack, that doesn't mean instant death for the chicken, that it won't happen. It just means that the shell has become more porous and more open for bacteria getting through. So there's nothing to say that chick won't survive, but it's more prone to getting a bacterial infection. These are our true silvers. I've got a friend who's got 2 or 3 pairs, so they've given me some mixed batches of eggs. You can see that some are quite messy and some are quite clean. So we're going to keep the clean eggs in the same incubator, and then we're going to put the messy eggs in another incubator. One thing you really don't want to do is wash eggs, because you're going to wash that natural bloom off. Now you can buy a fake bloom, so you can kind of wash your eggs and then put this bloom on, but I don't have any of it. And I also found that actually dirty eggs, unless they're super, super, super dirty, don't really affect the hatch. I mean, this is probably one of the dirtiest eggs, and actually I've hatched way dirtier eggs than that. But I am going to put all the dirty eggs in one incubator and the cleaner eggs in another. So if any bacteria on this shell was going to spread to other eggs, it's only going to spread to other ones that are also mucky. So a quick word on my incubators. These are actually Brimwood Octo-10s. You can't buy them anymore, but you can buy Brimwood, and I highly recommend it. I used to use some of the really cheaper ones that you can get shipped in from China, and the China-made ones, and I thought they were fine until I started using Brimwood, and my hatch rate went up, way up. These don't have an automatic thermometer in them, which is actually great. So you can see here, I've got a couple of thermometers in this one. Now, I always recommend putting a thermometer in your incubators anyway, because your digital display does not necessarily mean the right thing. Also, check with different incubators, because you can see that this one is dead on, 37.7. That is the perfect figure. This one, however, if we can roll it around, you can see is almost at 40. So you can see there's even some temperature differences with these thermometers. So if you do buy thermometers, make sure you actually buy a couple and check them against each other, because if it's too cold, your embryos won't develop fast enough. And if it's too hot, you might even end up cooking them, which is not what you want to do. So hopefully now, in 23 to 25 days, we're going to have some baby pheasants. And I'll keep you up to date with the progress and when we start to candle things, whether they are fertile. Now, as many of you know, over the past couple of weeks, I've been doing loads of seed sowing in the greenhouse and getting things to flourish and ready to go into the garden, either veg beds or flower patches. But one thing I really need to do is deal with these. So these are some little California Wonder sweet peppers. They were germinated inside and they've been kept inside till now, but I do need to individually pop them up so I can take better care of them. I've got some nice little diddy pots for them to go into. I don't want to put them into anything too much. And then, as always, you hold your main leaf, not the stem, because you don't want to damage it. Now, these are a little bit dry, so we're going to give them a nice water in once we have got them into their little pots. And then we have it, 7 little sweet pepper plants. Now, obviously, I've only got a few because last year I did way too many and I just don't have the space. So this year, I'm just doing these 7. I'm going to grow them on into nice big bushy plants that will stay in pots. And that should just about feed Sard and I without the need to go and buy any. Now, these little peppers germinated inside, so that means they can't be left in the greenhouse because the greenhouse is a bit broken, so on cold nights it's going to get too chilly for them. So they're going to come into the lean-to conservatory where they can get a bit of warmth from the house, and I can keep an eye on them, make sure they're watered, make sure they are pest-free, so they can get the best start in life. So in we go to our conservatory, and then we'll just pop each one onto this little bed of wet sand where the soil will draw up all that moisture and they'll be kept nice and warm. See, this is why I need to bring them in. There's a green fly right there. Sorry dude, you know you're a dead green fly. So they can sit happily here. I can keep an eye on them, make sure there are no more green fly on them, and give them the best start to life possible. I'm also doing loads of watering at the moment. Stuff in pots especially, and also the new seeds that were direct sown. So the first pots I've got here are the alliums. I've got a couple of pots of these. that frame the walkway. You'll also see the odd dandelion around the place, which I leave because it's perfect food for Mr. Grumbles and Togic. And then as you can see here is the veg patch. We've got loads of spinach and cabbages and chard and all sorts of things like that. But here are the radishes, so a couple of rows of radishes. And then today I noticed that the very first carrots are coming through. So it's important that we keep this nice and moist. So we'll give that a quick water as well. Well, I'm just sat here and I just realised that this honeysuckle is starting to get little buds on it, so it won't be long now until this whole patch is covered with beautiful perfumed yellow flowers. So that's about it from me. I need to go and continue watering. Not only have I got pots of herbs and flowers, but I've got all of those trees that my patrons and some of you guys have sent me as well for up at the farm. So I need to keep watering those and make sure they're growing so that we can move them up to the farm in the autumn and get them planted to create that new woodland. So that's for me. I'm going to go and water some trees.